Assalamu alaikum, everybody. We are practically done with verbs. There's a lot more, I must say, but for I would say 90%, 95% of verbs, we're done. What did we do? We looked at how the present tense, past tense. We looked into passives, past passives and present passives. And we also looked at commands. We also looked at forbidding. So now the next thing is, okay, well, usually when somebody does an action, it's actually a person or a thing, some kind of noun will be doing the action. So we know that there's three types of words we got in Arabic. Some are verbs, nouns, and prepositions. Verbs are fi'l, nouns are ism, and prepositions are harf. Okay, now we did somewhat of this, and now we're going to get into study of nouns, and we'll get into prepositions very quick because anytime you want to, let's say, he talked to him, right? We got a pronoun. Let's say he talked to. Let's call it a boy, right? That's a pronoun. Talked is a verb, right? This is a noun, pronoun. Get it? And then we have another noun. And we have even in English, a preposition. In order to complete a sentence, to get your point across, you're gonna need all three of them. So we got verbs out of the way somewhat, and now we have to get into nouns. Now in English, when you have to talk about who's doing the action, right? So let's say we wanted to say that he walked, let's say Bob walked the dog. So we know Bob is doing the action of walked. But what if I said dog walked Bob, right? Now you know that even though it doesn't make sense, but just because the doer is actually coming before the verb. So there's a verb called walked, right? And the doer of walked is whoever comes before it in the sentence. And in English, in this case, Bob is doing the action of walking, not the dog. Dog is actually is the done to, right? Is who the action is being done to. But Bob is doing the action of walking somebody. Now in Arabic it doesn't work like that, okay? And I'll give you an example. Now we all know the story, and even if we don't, we can figure out grammatically who's doing the action. So let's say qatala. Qatala is kind of like nasara, right? Qatala means he killed, okay? He killed. And then we have Dawood, let's call him David. Jalut, I don't know, I think Goliath, right? That's the and then he killed, right? So in Arabic, this is how we will write that, David killed Goliath, right? But I could have also written it like this: Dawudu qatala Jaluta. This is also right. And in this case, same thing. Now, one thing you'll notice, now I'm telling you that David or Dawood is the one who did the killing, who basically the action who's doing the action is Dawood who's doing the action. How do we know? Check this out. There's a dhamma over here, right? And over here, there's a fatha. So we know who's doing the action by looking at the way basically the harakat are on top of the verb or on top of the noun. Now when we started our Arabic studying, we said that, let's look at something simple like Bismillahi, right? And then we have Innallah. Even La ilaha illallah, right? And in that case is Allah. So now let's say when we're looking at Ayatul Kursi, we say Allahu La ilaha, and then it keeps on going. And if you notice that in this case, the same word, Bismillahi, Inna Allah, Allahu La ilaha. So all of the meaning of the word Allah is not changing, right? Allah is Allah. The word Allah is referring to our Lord Allah. But why are the harakas changing? That's basically depending on whether it is so the dhamma, fatha and kasra, or for Urdu speaking, pesh, zabar, zair, they mean a lot in Arabic. Okay, it's not just to make it sound nice, but they mean a lot. So that's something that, and you can tell basically who's doing the action, who is the detail of the action, who the action is being done to. Those can be all figured out by looking at the haraka. So now when we are studying Arabic, we're going to learn four things: status, gender, count, and type. For now, you don't have to know anything more than the fact that, okay, gender is easy, okay, whether it's masculine, feminine. Count is easy, whether it's singular, plural, or dual, right? Singular, dual, or plural. That's so you're gonna look at a word and figure out, okay, is it a singular? Is it a masculine? Is it a plural, dual? Is it a feminine? And then you're gonna also look at the status. Status is basically looking at these ending sounds of the word. Whether it has u or a or e. Okay, and they mean a lot. Whether basically are they a doer or a detail, and more. Okay, you can find out more about that. And then type is, for now, I'll just tell you whether it's common or proper. What they mean, don't worry about it. But for now, just write this down: common or proper. So this is what we're going to be learning. Anytime we look at a word, so just like in fi'lu, if I said fa'altu, you're going to right away say, okay, this is past tense and it is ana. Okay, I'm doing the action, so I is the doer and it is past tense, right? These are the things that you were figuring out just by looking at a verb. When you look at, and then there's of course more, whether it's a command or forbidden, but when you're looking at a noun, you're gonna look at it and say, hey, what's the status? You're gonna tell me the gender. How many is it, singular, plural, dual, or is it common or proper? This is what you're gonna find out. So for now, let's look at how a normal word should look like. Okay, and we'll have 3 charts for you today. Okay, so forget about what you had been doing in the past about having let's see. I'll write down. Okay, and let's start. So you're gonna have basically, we know this. When we're learning verbs, we had singular, dual, and plural, right? But over here we had third person, first person, and second person, masculine, feminine. None of that. The way we're gonna go in rows is rafa, nasab, or jar. Okay, what are these? These are the statuses. So today we're just gonna learn a little bit of status, and of course going on in other future weeks we're gonna learn gender and type and count. But for now, let's just look at status. What they mean, don't worry about that for now, but at least look how they look like is it should be what your concern is. Okay, so this is rafa, nasab, and jar. Okay, and now let's look at let's say a simple word like Muslim. A simple word like Muslim, we'll write that down. Okay, Write this down while you're looking at it if you didn't attend the class. Muslimun. Musliman. Muslimin. Okay, Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin. Muslimani. Okay, Muslimani. This is a Dhamma. Muslimaini. And then another Muslimaini. Okay, Muslimaini. Muslimuna. Muslimuna. Muslimina. Okay, by the way, this is different than the dual. The dual sound is maini, and this is mina. Okay, Muslimina, and then another Muslimina. What I'm trying to say over here is that nasab and jar of the dual and plural, they look the same. So we'll have to look at something else to figure out whether, you know, they're nasab or jar. Now, you can see that the rafas have the sound of, you know, muslimun, okay, there's a dhamma over here, muslimun. Or the dual will be ani, right? Here's the ani, and then una. Okay, so you got ani, and una. These are the sounds of rafa. Of course, singular, dual, plural. For nasab, you have an, aini, if that's how you spell it, aini. Okay, Musliman, or Muslimaini, and Muslimina. Okay, so Musliman, Muslimaini, Muslimina, these are the ina and aini. Okay, and an, these are the sounds of nasab. Now jar is simply in, and then same thing, aini and ina. Okay, aini and ina. So when you're reciting them, you say muslimun, musliman, muslimin, muslimani, muslimaini, muslimaini, muslimuna, muslimina, muslimina. These are simply the rafa nasab jar of a normal word like Muslim. Okay, one Muslim, Muslimun. One Muslim, again, Musliman. One Muslim, Muslimin. They're all singular right here. Okay, this is all singular. But if they're in the state of rafa, which I'll give you let's call rafa default. By default, every word is a rafa unless something is happening to it. Something happened and it became nasab or jar, but by default it's always rafa. And it's also a doer. Okay, for the most part, if you use it in a sentence and you see a word or an ism in a rafa status, whether it's or ani or una, most likely it's going to be a doer. And then now nasab, which is the an and ani or ina, these type of sounds, they are basic. If something is a nasab, it's mainly let's just call it for now extra detail. So let's say in the case of qatala talutu and qatala Dawudu jaluta, so that ta sound, right, kind of like this, the a sound was proving that this is a nasab. That means that Dawood killed Jalut. Or in the case of boy walked dog, boy walked dog, or man, walked, or Bob walked dog. Bob is Rafa, in the status of Rafa, and dog is an extra detail. Who did he walk? Who is the action being done to? So dog would be in the status of Nasab. And Jar, some things have to happen to it in order to make it Jar. And for now, just know that there is another status called Jar, and there's usually in, Aini, and Ina. Okay, Ina for plural, Aini for, so like walidani. Okay, walidani is two parents, right? Like couple. Walidaini, walidaini, right? So that Aini sound, or ani, right, should give you an indication of dual. And una and ina, these should be giving you indication that it's a plural. Whether they're rafa nasab jar is basically on the sheet, on the screen for you, how they should look like when they are rafa nasab or jar. What does rafa mean? For the most part, is default, or it's a doer. What does nasab mean? It's an extra detail of an action for the most part. Okay, and then jar is something that can make a word a jar. We'll figure out what those are, but for now, know this chart inside out, and let's move on with another chart. Okay, so this is just a normal word. This is all masculine, by the way. This is all masculine. Okay, well, what about feminine? How would you write feminine? Let's figure that out. So again, we have singular. Okay, alright, we have singular, dual, plural, rafa, nasab, jar. So let's write this down. We have muslimatun, muslimatan, muslimatin. Muslimatani. So only thing you can see that it just has an extra ta sound, right? That to indicate that it's a feminine. Muslimataini. Muslimataini. Now for plural, it's not una sound. It's, it's not muslimatuna. It's muslimatun. Okay, muslimatun, muslimatin, muslimatin. Notice that for nasab, aside for the most part, you're gonna have a tan sound, but it's not muslimatan. It's muslimatin, muslimatin. Okay, notice that it is a muslimatin. All right, and so that's that, and then you have muslimatin. Same thing, however, is aini, muslimataini, just like muslimaini. When it was masculine, muslimani, muslimaini, muslimaini. Over here it's muslimatani, muslimataini, muslimataini. And the singular nasab, rafa nasab jar is easy, is tuntantin, muslimatun, muslimatan, muslimatin. In masculine we had muslimuna, but over here we're not just saying muslimatuna, we're saying muslimatun. So just remember this, that this is how you say plural for a feminine. Muslimatin, muslimatin. So that's your second chart. Okay, so that's the feminine chart. What have we done so far? We have done the masculine chart and we have done the feminine chart. Now let's go to our last chart for the day. And before I get on to that, let's do this. In English, when we have a word like, let's say, car, to make it plural, you say cars, right? You have girl, you have girls, right? You have cow, say cows. You have pen. So you get the point. You're seeing the pattern. You have mouse, mouses, and you have man. You have mans, right? Of course, this is not the case. Mouse will become mice, and man will become men, right? Now, these right here are special cases. We know a normal case is just add an S, right? So the two charts that I just taught you, those are the what we would say are the normal cases, okay, for people. Right, you have Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin. That's and then in order to make something plural, you just give it a una sound. And if you wanna in the rafa status or if it's the jar status, you would say mina, right? A dual, just put ani sound, and you will have a dual. So let's say we had something like Muslim. How about a salih, right? You can say salihun, just like muslimun, right? Just to make it a plural. But anyways, in the case of special cases, we call, like man didn't become mans, it became men, or mouse didn't become mouses, it became mice. These are called broken plurals. Broken plurals. Okay, so this chart right here that I'm going to give you right now is basically the broken plural chart. So I gave you 3 charts. One was and for all of them, you know the rafa nasab and jar. We already know what rafa is, we know what nasab is, we know what jar is, right? Different statuses of looking at a word. So we just finished our masculine, feminine, and now let's do broken plurals. Broken plurals. In this case, these are usually things, objects, and they don't have to have a you can't say some, there's no different chart for masculine or different chart for feminine. You're gonna get one chart and it will be for broken plurals. This is how it goes. So let's look at something like qalam. You're gonna have qalamun, okay, qalaman, qalamin. So far so good. It sounds just like our normal masculine chart. Qalamani, qalamaini. Write this down, and then same thing, qalamaini. Now, it's not going to be qalamuna, because remember I said plural, it's a broken plural. So if I say qalamuna, it will be pretty much like our masculine chart, and there won't be a need of me teaching you a new chart. That will be, in this case, is aqlam. Aqlam. Okay? And in this case, it's just aqlamun, aqlaman, and aqlamin. Okay, aqlamun, aqlaman, aqlamin. These are the broken plurals. Now, how about if I have something like kitab? You can say kitabun, kitaban, kitabin, kitabani, kitabaini, kitabaini. Now you don't say aktab. Kitab has its own plural. Just like mouse is mice and man is men, you just have to know them. How do you make something plural? So in kitab, it will be kutub. Kutub, right? This will become kutubun, kutuban, kutubin. And that's how you do your broken plural. So now, overall, we have, and let me just erase all of this. All right. So far, what we have learned is, let's see. Once again, we'll go for, there's 3 types of words. We got nouns, verbs, and prepositions. When you look at the study of noun, you have to know the status. You have to know the gender. You have to know the count, the number, whether singular, dual, or plural, and you have to know the type. We are studying status for now. Okay, and in status we have rafa, nasab, and jar. And for all, rafa is basically a doer, or it is a by default everything should be in a rafa sound, right? Nasab is detail, and jar is something more that you will learn later on. Now, when it comes to the three charts that we learned of an ism, we have a masculine chart that we just learned today. Okay, we had the feminine chart, and we had the broken plural charts. Know these right here inside and out. Know how the singular and the dual and plural sound, and know how the rafa, nasab, and jar is of all these singular, dual, and plural. And with that we'll end, and that was a lesson for the day. And then next week we will go more detail into looking at the rafa, nasab, jar, and we might even start getting into prepositions next week. So stay tight. Just make sure that you have memorized these three charts. I will be pointing at different people and say, hey, how do you say something dual? Give me a dual of such and such word, and you'll have to give it, and I'll say give it to me in rafa form, nasab form, or jar form. With that we'll end. Inshallah, we'll see you guys next week. Assalamu alaikum.